welcome Breakthrough Prize co-founder and CEO of 23andMe, Anne Wojcicki, and the legendary Glenn Close.
If you live to the age of 70, and I think a few of us in this room have, you have taken over 500 million breaths. It's easy to take them for granted. But each is a delicately choreographed cellular dance. And in cystic fibrosis, the dance is out of step.
Until recently, cystic fibrosis could not be treated, only managed. Along with the lungs, many other organs are affected, leaving a tragic legacy for countless patients.
As with many diseases, the problems are caused by a defective protein. Our next laureates did something new, which few considered feasible. They found small molecules that restore these proteins' ability to function.
After decades of effort, they finally found a way to open the gateway.
Every breath is precious. To see a life cut short is heartbreaking. People with cystic fibrosis often didn't make it past the prime of life. This is the story of scientists who dedicated years of their lives to extending the lives of others. The gene that causes cystic fibrosis was discovered in 1989. On cells lining the lungs and other organs, there is a vital gateway. In cystic fibrosis, these gateways are often missing or broken. But what if we could find a molecule that could fix these gateways? People called it science fiction. No drug molecule of that kind had ever been found. The team looked at over 1 million compounds. Nothing worked. And yet, they kept going, synthesizing them into tens of thousands of candidate drugs, building models in a lab to test them, and running over 100 clinical trials, searching year after year. And after more than 20 years, their dedication produced the breakthrough. They finally had it, a treatment that could fix the broken gateway. Their invention has revolutionized the treatment of cystic fibrosis, raising quality of life and giving patients the most precious gift, the gift of time.
For many cystic fibrosis patients, this treatment has been a life changer, radically reducing hospitalizations, lung transplants, and mortality for many people suffering from the disease.
Often, socioeconomic status has profound implications in patient outcomes. We hope that soon, people all over the world will have access to breakthrough treatments.
We would now like to welcome Margaret Casalina to tell the story of how cystic fibrosis and our laureates changed her life.
In 1991, my son Eric was born with cystic fibrosis. His life expectancy, 19. 2 years later, my daughter, Jenna, was born with that same fatal disease. My dreams for my children faded as weeks of living in hospitals stretched into years. In 2006, my daughter, Jenna, moved up to heaven at the age of 13, just as these scientists were working on a treatment. Eric's struggle continued, his future dim. But I am so thankful to be able to introduce my son Eric to you tonight.
Thank you, Mom. Living with cystic fibrosis means fighting for each breath, questioning, did I fight hard enough to see tomorrow? But at 28, hope arrived. Within hours of taking this drug, I could breathe deeper. Now, at 32, I'm proud to say I'm a husband, a father, and have a full career. And I have a life thanks to these three scientists. Fear no longer rules. This is a fight I will win. On behalf of all those living with cystic fibrosis, thank you to the scientists and their team who made the impossible possible.
For developing life-transforming drug combinations that repair defective channel protein in patients with cystic fibrosis.
The Breakthrough Prize in Life Sciences go to Paul Negulescu, Sabine Adida, and Frederick Van Gore.
How do you thank heroes who lived in a lab year after year away from their own families so Eric could have his and I could have mine? Can I give you guys a hug?
Margaret, I don't think you need any advice on how to say thank you. The first person I met with cystic fibrosis was a 5-year-old boy. He seemed perfectly healthy, but on the inside, billions of his cells were working against him. Our job was to repair the defective protein in each of those cells. Many thought this was impossible. After all, there are a lot of cells and a lot of proteins. But inspired by that boy, and families like Margaret's, we invented medicines that corrected these defective proteins.
We would like to acknowledge all our colleagues and the physicians and people with cystic fibrosis who volunteered for clinical trials, as well as our families for their love and support. We would like to also remember our friend, mentor, and project leader, Peter Krutenhuis, who sadly passed away from a rare disease.
For the patients who do not respond to these life-changing medicines, we continue our search for you. Our current research builds on the genetic therapy breakthrough prize laureates from previous years. This is a truly remarkable example of how scientific breakthroughs can pave the way for what's possible in people's lives. Thank you.